Today on Cinesavi, we will review the 2007 romantic comedy Virgin Territory. The film begins with a man painting bums on angels. He narrates how he became a painter at the church. He is assigned the job of painting the church roof. He draws angels, patity, and melons, devil's tail, nuns you name. Set against the backdrop of the plague-ridden Florence in the 14th century, the medieval setting of the film is appealing in its grandeur and glamour. Lorenzo, our star boy, is a gambler as narrated by our painter friend, but he is running out of luck. He also has a crush on the town's richest girl, Pampinea, but won't admit it. Gerbino de la Rata, the town goon, is chasing to hunt him down for some reason. Lorenzo deceives them by climbing a tree, but the branch breaks and he falls to the ground, becoming unconscious. This time luck is on his side as he is found by nuns who believe he is an angel that fell from the sky. They take him to the convent. Now this convent is known for its over-the-top management of things. Two of the nuns can't take their eyes off him and are desperate to taste the meat. They tend to him as he regains his consciousness and backs off. The abbess comes in inquiring about the situation, and they say he hasn't said a word and that they believe he is deaf and dumb. The abbess looks at herself and Lorenzo plays along. She orders to take him to the bathroom and clean him up. The nuns happily follow. Back in Florence, Pampinia's father passes away after being infected by the plague. Gerbino de la Rata asks her hand in marriage, saying her father was in debt to him and the only way out for clearing the debt was to marry him. Pampinea, engaged to Count Dzerzhinsky from Russia, is waiting for him to come and marry her as proposed by her father when he was alive. She thinks of fleeing with her friends. They all seem to have taken a pledge of chastity but can't wait to lose the precious. Pampinea sends a message to her fiancé that they will get married at her father's mansion and meanwhile takes shelter in the convent waiting for his arrival. In the convent, she sees Lorenzo and finds that he is working as a gardener, posing deaf and dumb but doesn't expose him. She starts becoming infatuated by him and jealous of the other horny nuns who get to have their share with him. Before leaving the convent, she visits his room with her veil on. She takes a piece of cloth and folds it around his eyes, lifts her veil, kisses him, and leaves. Before leaving the convent, she talks to the abbess about how beautiful Lorenzo's voice is and how she heard him sing in the garden. Lorenzo is chased out of the convent. Having nowhere to go, she follows Pampinea to her father's mansion where she is expected to marry Count Dzerzhinsky. Her friends, who are taking a different route to the mansion, come across two girls waving at them who they follow to a stable where they teach them how to milk a cow, leading to an intense romantic encounter. His girlfriend, being worried, follows them and is disgusted by what she sees. They get into an argument but make up the next day in the wild, which leads them all getting into the hands of a bandit gang. They tie them up and demand a dance from the ladies in the group. The ladies, embarrassed at first, get into the role and use it as a ploy to escape. They entertain the gang with some dance and a kind of stage play. Meanwhile, in Florence, Count Dzerzhinsky arrives with his group and is ambushed by Gerbino's men. His companions are killed, but he survives. Receiving a message from Pampinea's servant, rides to Pampinea's father's mansion for the wedding, for he has been promised her hand in marriage. On the way, he arrives at a pool drinking water where he sees a girl taking a bath. He is stunned by her beauty and asks if she is Pampinea. The girl flirts along without giving much information about who she is. They kiss. The count is led to believe Pampinea's friend Elisa is Pampinea. After following her to her father's home, Lorenzo tells Pampinea that he has fallen in love with the nun who kissed him while he was wearing a blindfold but whose face he was never allowed to see. Later, Lorenzo is imprisoned at the estate by Gerbino and his men. To save Lorenzo, Pampinea consents to marry Gerbino that very day, and Lorenzo is thus exiled to the woods. He meets Dzerzhinsky there, who is en route to the mansion to wed Pampinea, really Elisa, and the two work together to defeat Gerbino's soldiers. Inside the home, Gerbino himself perishes after falling into a big deep well. Pampinea, who is in love with Lorenzo, rejects the marriage proposal from Count Dzerzhinsky, only to realize minutes later that the Count is actually in love with Elisa, who has been pretending to be Pampinea. She then joyfully pursues Lorenzo and kisses him. When Lorenzo finds that she is the nun he has fallen in love with, they get married that very day in front of all of their friends. Despite its flaws, Virgin Territory is able to captivate some viewers with its humorous moments and beautiful vistas. It might be mildly entertaining if you're in the mood for a straightforward romantic comedy set in medieval times. However, Virgin Territory might not satisfy viewers who are looking for a better rounded and lasting cinematic experience. The combination of medieval romance, humor, and drama in Virgin Territory results in a fun and gorgeous movie experience. Its lack of logic and complexity, though, make it a mediocre addition to the genre.